When people think about gymnastics, the first things that would usually come to mind are athletes in a leotard, graceful and clear, sharp moves that display their balance and flexibility. But the sport isn't all classy and serious, since sometimes athletes unknowingly do something out of habit to break a laugh or two, which got caught on camera more than a few times. That being said, here are some of the funniest moments in gymnastics we managed to find. Let's start with something memorable and relatable for today's list. Remember when multi-awarded world champion Simone Biles got attacked by a bee and panicked in the middle of the podium back in 2014? We do. Her reactions were quite hilarious as well as relatable. The 17-year-old Biles at the time ran around the podium upon knowing that there was a bee in her bouquet. The animal chased after her, and in the hopes of getting rid of it, Biles tried to swat it away, but the flying insect found a new victim in the form of Biles' teammate Kyla Ross. "There was a bee on my flowers, and then Larissa told me, so I tried to get the bee off, and then the bee chased me, and then it got on Kyla." The world champion narrated the experience after and aired her apology to her teammate as well. "I'm so sorry, Kyla. I just don't do bugs. I don't like bees at all. I just didn't want it to sting me because I've never been stung before by a bee or a wasp, and I kinda freaked out." Another funny moment we managed to scour on the web happened way back in 1976, held in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. One particular gymnast, Ladmia Turishiva of the USSR, had just finished her routine and landed perfectly on the mat when the apparatus from behind her collapsed. And you know what's cooler than that? Turishiva never looked back on the mess, which kinda reminds us of that one particular scene in the Dark Knight movie when the Joker walked away as he blew up the hospital in the background. "And the apparatus has collapsed," the commentator announced as she walked away from the mat. But being an athlete carrying the pride of your whole country is too much pressure at times, that one doesn't get to enjoy the sport much anymore. So when Oksana Chusovitina of Uzbekistan announced her retirement from the sport, it's quite understandable and at the same time unreliable, since she's been announcing her retirement for years now. During the Superstars of Gymnastics last 2020, as Chusovitina prepped and checked the bars, she pulled out a placard that read, "I do not like bars," which got the crowd and the commentators chuckling. Despite professing her dislike for it, the 8-time Olympic gymnast sure as heck did an amazing performance shortly after, which got the crowd cheering for more. But sometimes gymnasts really just want to have some fun and spread joy to the viewers, like the Chinese acrobats back in 2016 at the Rio Olympics. The Chinese quartet executed a funny routine where they used one of their teammates as a human skipping rope, holding him up by his arms and feet as one of them continuously jumped over him. And if we're just talking about funny performances, then by all means, Paul Hunt is a household name in that genre. A former gymnast turned coach and gymnast clown, Paul Hunt was beloved by many because of his comedic performances of women's gymnastics routines, which he performs on the balance beam and uneven bars. Heck, he even did a lot of floor exercises back then. During his performances, he'd like to call himself several female names, such as Paulina Huntesque, Pauletta Huntanova, and Paulette Huntanova, while donning a pink leotard with his hair tied in pigtails complete with frilly ribbons. He may change the color of his outfits, but he's never not seen without his signature mustache, which also appealed to many. His 1988 floor exercise comedy routine is still up on YouTube to this day, where it has garnered 6.8 million views, as well as his comedy beam routine, which he performed at the 1988 USA-USSR display in Los Angeles. Paulette, as he was called that day, wore a yellow leotard with matching yellow ribbons in his hair, but surprisingly, his iconic mustache was nowhere to be seen. His presence at Antisex were a welcome relief to all since, at the time, there was tension during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States. It was pretty clear that the USSR had the better athletes at the time of the joint gymnastics summit between the two countries, but Paul Hunt's comedy routine will forever be remembered in history. So much of the coaching and teaching of gymnastics at that time was so strict and rigid, Hunt shared in an interview back in 2018. "I just wanted to remind them all that gymnastics is fun. There's joy in doing this." Aside from gymnastics, we also managed to find several funny and interesting moments captured on camera during sporting events, which we'll also share with you today, especially in the recently concluded 2020 Tokyo Olympics. One such moment that became a viral meme is when Martina Trajdos, a German judoka, was seen being grabbed by the collar and slapped multiple times in the face by her coach right before her fight against Sophie Osbus of Hungary. At first, viewers were enraged seeing how they thought the athlete was being bullied by her coach, but Trajdos quickly explained that it was part of their pre-fight routine and that his slaps were consensual. It didn't take long before the internet made a meme of this event. On the other hand, Kaylee McKeown, an Australian swimmer, couldn't control her happiness and swore on national TV. McKeown bagged the gold medal in the women's 100-meter backstroke, so when she was interviewed after the event, she couldn't control her excitement and dropped the F-bomb, then immediately covered her hand right when she realized what she did. And speaking of excitement, one particular coach was also seen doing several animated reactions when one of his swimmers won the event. The Australian swimmer Ariarne Titmus overcame the great Katie Ledecky Ledecky in the women's 400-meter freestyle, making her the new champion, which led her coach, Dean Boxall, going nuts over the stands that left the volunteers worried for his safety. And that wasn't the only funny event that involved an Australian team. Another hilarious incident involved Jess Fox of the Australian kayak team having to make urgent repairs to the nose of her kayak. And the material she used? Nothing out of the ordinary, just a regular condom. And what's even funnier is that she even managed to bag the bronze medal for the event. But out of all of these, the funniest one would have to be the anti-sex cardboard bed theories, which started when Paul Kalimo of the U.S. track team took to his Twitter account to explain the status of the beds used in the Olympic Village, which were made of cardboard. The reason these were built in such a manner is so that athletes could avoid intimacy among other athletes. Beds to be installed in Tokyo Olympic Village will be made of cardboard. This is aimed at avoiding intimacy among athletes, Kalimo wrote on his Twitter account. Beds will be able to withstand the weight of a single person to avoid situations beyond sports. I see no problem for distance runners, even 4 of us can do. And the news spread like wildfire, which was fanned by social media. An Irish gymnast named Rhys McClanahan claimed that these anti-sex theories were false, and also aired his comments on his Twitter account where the athlete can be seen jumping on one of the beds. But the funniest take on this anti-sex theory would have to be Mexico's soccer team. In a video uploaded by Canelo Angulo on YouTube, 3 members of the Mexican soccer team, namely Jesus Angulo, Jose Esquivel, and Adrian Mora, tried to test the durability of this bed by body slamming against it. And yes, these beds could hold the weight of 3 full-grown men as seen on the vlog. As much as the focus of the viewers is the athletes, sometimes it's the commentators who bring life to the games more, like what Joe Tracini did as he commentated on Max Whitlock's performance that became viral. Keeping a professional front while commentating on the routine, the Brit couldn't help but throw in a thing or two about his peculiar descriptions of Whitlock's moves. Chin hammock, arms akimbo, wagamamas, fistful of jam pots, Tracini was heard narrating, really testing the durability of his Spanx there, winding up for a spooky bassoon there. There's the colon, 16 hamsters, he excitedly shouts as Whitlock dismounts and finishes his routine. And last but not least, let's not forget UK's very own diver, Tom Daley, who was seen sitting on the bleachers knitting a jumper for his French bulldog Izzy. It quickly warmed the hearts of the fans and viewers at the time, and of course, Daley himself had gone viral over this, aside from winning gold for Team Great Britain in the men's synchronized diving. And with that, we're wrapping up today's video about the funniest moments in gymnastics and the Olympics. Which ones did you like best? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button with the notification bell on before you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next episode.